Hey everyone, Matt Straub here with the Rotoworld basketball crew. Tommy Beer, Ryan Knaus, Steve Alexander. We are engulfed in draft prep, getting ready for our fantasy leagues, a very exciting time of year. But there are a number of players we are legitimately worried about, our busts. Who do you guys have as your potential fantasy busts?
Bust is a strong word, but Kemba Walker, I think, is set for maybe a bit of a downturn. New city, new coach, new team. New teammates, new system, new everything. And in Charlotte, Kemba Walker was the focal point of everything. Offense, defense, ran everything. In Boston, I just think they're deeper. I think he's walking into a different situation where he doesn't have to be the guy every minute of every game. And again, I don't think he's going to be a total bust, but I think he's going to be drafted higher than he should be.
Scary when the status quo gets shaken up because, yeah, he could repeat what he does, but he could also go down.
Yes.
I'm not as concerned about that just because Kemba has proven he's a pick-and-roll maestro, but he also really improved his jump shot over the years. So he's got enough weapons. I feel like he'll be able to fit into Boston's system. And even though, as you said, he's no longer the man, Jason Tatum's going to handle the ball a lot more. You got Gordon Hayward, guys like that, who can take some of the pressure off. But I think that just gives Kemba easier looks. He's still going to get plenty of assists, and he's super durable. So I do think he might take a slight step back in terms of scoring and just raw stats. But the durability, and I think he's versatile enough to fit in there in Boston. And I'm going to take a pair of Pelicans that I'm going to avoid in every draft, and that's Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball. They are just injury prone. They kill your percentages. They have high turnovers. Ingram's missed, I think he played 65 and 67 games the past 2 seasons. Lonzo Ball played 40-something and then 55 games. Just guys I am straight up avoiding because you don't want, if you're losing 3 categories because of them and they're going to miss games, where's the upside?
Yeah, I think I can be talked into Ball more than Ingram. I'm 100% staying away from Ingram. I still think Lonzo has some crazy fantasy potential, you know?
Yeah.
Like, bad percentages, yeah, but he doesn't shoot a lot. So you're talking rebounds, assists, steals. Tommy's rolling his eyes at me over there.
It's kind of a Ricky Rubio type specialist.
I think of him as
Is that what you're
potentially
thinking?
Jason Kidd light. Like, I think that's his upside. And again, that may sound crazy. but I
Jason
think
Kidd never shot 50% from the free throw line. I think that's a damaging number, you know.
Low attempts. stuff.
Listen, if his dad thinks he's damaged goods, I'm gonna take his word for it and pass on him. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from, especially in points leagues. Let's be clear. You know, we talk about 9-cat and 8-cat a lot. In a points league, Lonzo Ball has a really high upside. So I'm with you on that, as long as he can stay healthy. As far as my busts, I will invite the haters. I can already see my DMs and inbox lighting up. But I'm going to go with Zion Williamson and Luka Doncic.
Sending you something right now.
Let me start with Zion. Listen, I understand the hype. I really want to see him play too. But unless your league has a category for highlight reel dunks, I'm worried about Zion's production coming into the season. His field goal percentage is a concern for me. He's going to get plenty of dunks in transition. That'll help him out. But his release on his jump shot's really low. I think teams are going to focus on him. He's a really hyped player. So when, you know, for power forwards around the league, they're going to want to make a name for themselves by shutting down Zion. So I'm worried about that. Also, he looked out of shape in Vegas. He's a player that we just have. There's really no prototype for. We haven't really seen a guy that's 6'7", 280 come into the league. Will he be able to handle it? We'll see, you know, but that injury concerns worry me. As far as Luka's concerned, really it's percentages. You know, can he improve his free throw percentage? He should, but I'm not willing to bank on it. And again, I think these guys will have solid seasons, but Luka's going to go 15th overall, near the turn, you know, somewhere along those lines, top 20. Same with Zion. He's probably not going to slip to the end of the second round. Everyone's looking to make a splash, and, you know, I want that guy on my team. I understand that part of fantasy sports is having fun and, you know, picking for guys you want, but I'm going to separate my rooting interests and strictly go on what I think will deliver a more consistent, higher floor, proven product. I'm just not sure what Zion's going to bring to the table. I think there's a lot of downside, a lot of pros. I think everything has to go right for him to be able to match his projected ADP, and I'm just not willing to bet that everything goes in his favor.
I'm with you there. Steve said at the top of this that bust is a strong word, and I think that applies to Zion because to me, I think you're right. He's got a borderline first-round valuation, and I'm not convinced that he can get there.
Agreed.
I'm usually a little bit more gun-shy about rookies anyway. I like established value, guys with a track record, and his, the conditioning is a bit of a concern. And can he duplicate those outstanding defensive numbers that he had in college? Can his efficiency stay that high if he doesn't have like a very reliable jump shot? There's too many issues for me to take him in the first round.
I'm going to throw the name Eric Bledsoe into this conversation, guys. Now, this is a guy who had basically a top 40 season if you're playing in a 9-category league last year. A very good fantasy player. What worries me is he really fell apart in the playoffs, and call it a shooting slump if you want. I don't know. He looked bad. He shot 35% over their last 2 playoff series. Was missing free throws too. His numbers just kind of fell off. Now he's 29 years old. So even if he does bounce back, maybe it was just an aberration, but you're talking about a guy whose ceiling is kind of falling away, and I think the floor is a little lower than it used to be. So I'm like spending nowhere close to a top 40 pick on Bledsoe this year.
If I was going to fight you off, I'd mention Brogdon out of the picture. So
that's fair. That's fair. But you didn't really have your heart in it.
I can't. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
And you're right. Having seen George Hill take minutes away from Eric Bledsoe in the playoffs because he shot 16% from deep and they lost to the Raptors, it's hard to get on board again.
Something was wrong. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
Maybe a slump, but I'm concerned. Steve, you had one more, a certain power forward in the city of Cleveland.
Kevin Love. He's old. He's injury prone. He's trade bait. He plays on a terrible team. We've seen him miss huge chunks of seasons over and over again. I don't think I'm going out on a limb here. I'm not drafting Kevin Love. I'm staying away from a lot of guys who are older, and I just have no use for him. And let me get my little Luka spiel in here. I've got too much money invested in Luka Doncic gear to sit here and listen to all this vitriol about my guy.
You have an entire wing of your closet dedicated to Luka Doncic.
An entire closet, yes. But I really think he was a rookie last year. He just got to the league. He's been a good free throw shooter in the past. He can rebuild that. He's like Steve Austin, the $6 million man. We can rebuild it. We're going to rebuild the free throws. He's going to shoot a little bit better, lower turnovers. I'm telling you guys, Luka's going to blow up this year. If he doesn't, I'm going to have to burn a bunch of shirts.
All right. So you mentioned Kevin Love being old and injury prone. That brings us to a couple of kind of perennial fantasy superstars, Chris Paul and LeBron James, both 34 years old. LeBron only played 55 games last year. Chris Paul missed a bunch again. These are guys who are absolute fantasy stalwarts, top 10 first-round guys forever, for over a decade. What do you do with them in fantasy leagues?
I play a lot of 9-cat leagues, as I know you guys do. So LeBron has always kind of scared me off because he'll tank your turnovers right out of the gate. Last year was his worst ever free throw shooting year, and the missed games started to pile up. So it's taking a cumulative toll. He's going to turn 35. It's just not a point at which I'm willing to spend a top 15 pick to get him. And Chris Paul, it's uncertain what's going to happen in OKC. If he can't get traded, if no one wants to take on his contract, they might shut him down. If he is traded, where's he going to go? And he, too, would miss his games every single year.
So you're out on both those guys?
I think I'm out on both of these.
What about you, Steve?
Well, I've been worried about Chris Paul's knees literally for 10 years. And every year I'm like, this is the year his knees are going to explode. And it hasn't really happened. He's had some knee issues, but again, he's a guy over 30. He's on OKC now instead of Houston. Who knows where his head's at? He's probably not very happy about how that went down. Who's he playing with? I just have concerns about Chris Paul. LeBron, I think the Lakers, if they're in the playoff hunt, if AD and him stay healthy and dominate like they should, I'm not as worried about the games played as I should be. I should be very concerned about LeBron's games played after he played 55 last year. But I feel like the Lakers are going to be competitive. He's got a better chance of playing closer to 65, 70 games than he does 50.
Are you in or out of these guys quickly, Tommy?
Unlike the ageists over here with Steve and our buddy Mike Gallagher, I'm in. Again, look at the production. You know, you look at a per-game basis, Chris Paul was top 25, top 30. We know what LeBron can do. Even a guy like Kevin Love, play the board. If those guys are falling to in the, like Love and Chris Paul in the 3rd or 4th round, and Love in 5th or 6th, I'm scooping those guys up and hoping that they stay healthy.
And Chris Paul especially is a guy who you could really see falling down draft boards.
Yeah.
So at some point, the value is there. All right, thank you guys. Do you think you have what it takes to beat our experts? Well, now is your chance to prove it. We will be conducting our first ever live NBA fantasy draft on October 3rd, and 8 lucky Draft Guide users will be selected to compete against 4 Rotoworld and Yahoo experts. And this is not just a mock, everyone. We'll be playing out the league. All you have to do is be eligible to purchase. All you have to do to be eligible is purchase a Draft Guide, and the more products you buy, the more chances you have to be selected. Go to rotoworld.com/dominatenba to check out our products.